1 minute ago, satellites captured something impossible unfolding across California's heartland. A 400-mile fog bank has locked the Central Valley in near total darkness for 25 consecutive days, the longest stretch in over a decade. But the fog is hiding something far more dangerous. Beneath the streets, beneath the farmland, beneath 500,000 homes, the ground itself is collapsing at rates scientists call unprecedented. In some areas, the land is dropping 2 feet every single year. What is causing this double crisis, and why can't anyone stop what's coming next? At 2,000 feet above sea level in the Sierra Nevada foothills, the December sun blazes down on hikers in t-shirts. Temperatures hover near 72 degrees Fahrenheit, nearly 15 degrees above normal for this time of year. But just a few miles away, and 2,000 feet lower, the city of Fresno sits trapped under a thick gray blanket. Temperatures struggle to reach 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Visibility drops to less than a quarter mile. The air tastes metallic, heavy with trapped moisture and pollution. This is the Central Valley's temperature inversion, and NASA satellites confirm it is one of the most extreme ever recorded. The magnitude reaches 30 degrees Fahrenheit across just 2,000 vertical feet. Climate scientist Daniel Swain from the California Institute for Water Resources calls it one of the most remarkable inversions I've ever seen in this part of the world. The fog arrived on November 21st and has barely budged since. Each night around 8 p.m., the mist descends like a living thing, swallowing highways, orchards, and entire cities. By morning, drivers inch along Interstate 5 with hazard lights flashing, unable to see beyond their own hood. The National Weather Service has issued 9 dense fog advisories in November alone, the most in any single month this early in the wet season since at least 2005. But this was only the first warning. The science behind the fog is simple but unforgiving. After California's wettest autumn on record, soils across the Central Valley became saturated with moisture. Precipitation totals from September through November 2025 ranked in the top 10% ever recorded. When a massive high-pressure ridge settled over the state in late November, it acted like a lid on a pressure cooker. Cold, dense air sank into the valley floor, while warmer air above compressed and pressed downward. With no storms to disrupt the pattern, the fog became self-sustaining. During the day, the weak winter sun cannot penetrate the cloud layer. At night, the Earth radiates heat upward, cooling the surface air to its dew point. Water vapor condenses into thick droplets that cling to the ground. The cycle repeats endlessly, trapping millions of people in a twilight world where afternoon feels like dusk and morning never truly arrives. Above the inversion layer, however, a different reality exists. Record warm ocean temperatures offshore and an almost complete absence of Sierra Nevada snowpack have created an anomalously warm air mass. It is often warmer at 8,000 feet in Yosemite at night than it is in downtown Sacramento at midday. The inversion layer has essentially split California into 2 climate zones, separated by just a few thousand feet of elevation. And the signs were already spreading. In Sacramento, residents endure their coldest December in over a decade. Maximum daily temperatures run nearly 4 degrees below normal. Fresno shivers through days that feel more like January in Seattle than California's agricultural heartland. Children wait for school buses in the pre-dawn gloom, their breath visible in the damp chill. Orchards that should be basking in sunlight stand shrouded in gray, their branches dripping with condensation. The fog is not just uncomfortable, it is economically devastating. Tule fog, as locals call it, has historically been beneficial for Central Valley agriculture. Fruit and nut trees like almonds and pistachios require a certain number of chill hours below 45 degrees Fahrenheit to enter dormancy and produce healthy crops the following season. The fog provides this natural refrigeration while shielding tree buds from direct sunlight that could trigger premature growth. But research published in Geophysical Research Letters reveals a troubling trend. Since 1981, Tule fog frequency has declined by 46%. Warmer temperatures and improved air quality have reduced the conditions necessary for fog formation. Now, farmers worry that the very climate shifts making fog less common could threaten long-term crop productivity. This year's prolonged fog event may be an anomaly in a warming world where such events become rarer. What came next shocked even the scientists. While the fog dominated headlines, satellites and ground-based radar systems were detecting a crisis unfolding beneath the surface. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, using interferometric synthetic aperture radar technology called INSAR, has been tracking land subsidence in the Central Valley since 2006. The latest data shows areas near Corcoran and Chowchilla sinking at rates approaching 2 feet per year, among the fastest rates ever recorded anywhere on Earth. Subsidence occurs when groundwater is extracted faster than aquifers can naturally recharge. The Central Valley's underground sediments act like a sponge, holding water in millions of tiny pores within clay, sand, and gravel layers. When farmers pump this water to irrigate crops, especially during drought years, those pores collapse, the sediment compacts, the land drops. In some cases, the compaction is permanent, meaning the aquifer loses its water storage capacity forever. Since the 1920s, parts of the San Joaquin Valley have sunk by as much as 28 feet. That's enough to bury a 2-story house to its roofline. During the most recent drought cycles, the pace has accelerated dramatically. Between 2006 and 2022, the average subsidence rate for the entire valley reached nearly 1 inch per year. In subsidence bowls near Corcoran, El Nido, and south of Merced, the ground is dropping 10 times faster. But the ground had one more secret. The economic consequences are staggering. A study published in the journal Land Economics by UC Riverside researchers quantified for the first time how subsidence affects property values. Using satellite radar data cross-referenced with nearly 200,000 home sales across 8 counties, the team found that homes in subsiding areas lost between 2.4 and 5.6% of their value. In dollar terms, that translates to losses between $6,689 and $16,125 per home.
The aggregate impact across the Central Valley totals $1.87 billion in lost housing wealth. For families trying to build equity through home ownership, watching their property values sink along with the ground beneath them is a cruel twist of fate. Insurance companies refuse to cover subsidence damage, citing volcanic and geological exclusion clauses. Selling becomes impossible. Buyers avoid homes in known subsidence zones. Mehdi Namadi, the UC Riverside environmental economist who led the study, explained the mechanism simply. Think of a sponge. If you squeeze water out and never let it soak again, it flattens and hardens. That's what's happening underground. The damage extends far beyond individual homes. The California Aqueduct, a critical artery carrying water from Northern California to farms and cities in the south, has developed multiple bowls where land subsidence has created dips in the canal bed. Water pools in these low spots, restricting flow. Operators must run water closer to the top of the concrete liner than safety protocols normally allow. In 2017, the California Department of Water Resources released its first comprehensive study showing that subsidence had reduced the state water project's delivery capability by 3%. By 2025, that figure could reach 23% if no corrective action is taken. The Friant-Kern Canal, which delivers irrigation water to 15,000 farms and drinking water to 1 million San Joaquin Valley residents, has seen its flow capacity drop by 60% due to subsidence damage. The U.S. Bureau of Reclamation spent $400 million constructing a 10-mile bypass canal to restore capacity. State and federal water agencies have spent an estimated $100 million on subsidence-related repairs since the 1960s, and the costs continue to mount. In the town of Corcoran, population 21,960, the situation has reached crisis levels. Maria Gonzalez lives on the west side of town, where her neighborhood has sunk more than 6 feet since 2008. Her front door no longer aligns with its frame. Cracks spiderweb across her living room walls. The floors slope noticeably toward the center of the house. Last winter, a sewer line ruptured beneath her street, flooding the intersection with raw sewage. City workers told her the pipe had buckled under the stress of uneven ground movement. "Every year it gets worse," she says, standing in her driveway where the concrete has fractured into jagged plates. "We watch the cracks get longer. We see new ones appear after the summer pumping season. The city says they're working on it, but what can they do? The whole town is sinking." Corcoran sits at the center of what NASA scientists call the Corcoran Bowl, one of the deepest subsidence features in the entire valley. The bowl-shaped depression extends for miles in every direction, with the land dropping fastest at its center. The town's sinking is driven primarily by intensive agricultural groundwater pumping in the surrounding farmland. When drought reduces surface water deliveries, farmers compensate by drilling deeper wells and pumping more aggressively. The aquifer beneath Corcoran, already stressed from decades of extraction, compacts further with each passing season. Local officials have installed lift stations to raise sewage and stormwater that can no longer flow downhill naturally. Roads require constant resurfacing, building foundations crack and shift, domestic wells fail as casings buckle under the strain of compressing sediments. The Corcoran Irrigation District, which serves local farms, has spent millions repairing infrastructure damaged by subsidence. Yet identifying who is responsible for the sinking proves nearly impossible. Thousands of individual wells operate across the region, each contributing to the cumulative drawdown of the aquifer. Large agricultural companies like Boswell Farming, one of the biggest landowners in Kings County, pump millions of acre-feet annually. Some residents believe Boswell exacerbates the problem by selling off surface water allocations to other districts while relying more heavily on groundwater for its own crops. In 2015 and 2016, one Fresno County water district purchased 43,000 acre-feet of Boswell's water for $43.6 million. "If you're selling off your water, you've got no business farming with groundwater," said Doug Verboon, a Kings County supervisor and farmer. Others argue the problem is systemic, not the fault of any single user. "We're all pumping," said Gene Kilgore, general manager of the Corcoran Irrigation District. The statement captures the fundamental challenge facing the Central Valley. Groundwater is the buffer that keeps agriculture viable during dry years, but that buffer is collapsing under its own weight. California's 2014 Sustainable Groundwater Management Act requires local agencies to balance groundwater withdrawals with natural recharge by the 2040s. The law represents a historic shift toward regulating a resource that has operated under a first-come, first-served framework for over a century. But implementation is slow. Many groundwater sustainability agencies have requested extensions. Others face opposition from agricultural interests resistant to pumping restrictions. Meanwhile, the land continues to sink. A 2025 technical report commissioned by the California Department of Water Resources projects that if current trends continue, subsidence could reduce state water project deliveries by up to 23% within 2 decades. That loss equals nearly 500,000 acre-feet per year, enough water to supply 1.7 million homes annually. Stanford University researchers, led by geophysicist Rosemary Knight, have developed new models using remote sensing data to identify where strategic aquifer recharge could slow or stop subsidence. Their findings suggest that flooding agricultural fields during wet years to replenish underground water supplies could reverse some of the damage. California has enough surface water available during high flow years to make a significant impact, but targeting is critical. "We should focus on places where subsidence will cause the greatest social and economic costs," Knight said, "areas where sinking threatens aqueducts or domestic wells in small communities." The challenge is immense. Over 4,000 square miles of the San Joaquin Valley have already subsided by more than 12 inches. A 1999 governmental report described this as one of the single largest alterations of the land surface attributed to humankind. Yet, public awareness remains low. Many valley residents are unaware their towns are sinking. Those who know often feel powerless to change the trajectory. As December 2025 progresses, the fog finally begins to lift. A series of atmospheric rivers forecast to arrive late in the month will bring rain, disrupt the stubborn temperature inversion, and scour the valley clean. Winds will mix the stagnant air. Temperatures will rise as the warmer subtropical air mass pushes through.
For the first time in nearly a month, sunlight will reach the valley floor. But the respite will be temporary. The fog will return next winter and the winter after that, though perhaps less frequently as the climate continues to warm. And beneath the surface, the land will keep sinking. Aquifers will continue compacting. Infrastructure will keep failing. Home values will decline further. Scientists know the mechanism driving the crisis. They understand how groundwater depletion causes subsidence. They have tools to measure the sinking with centimeter-level precision. They can model future scenarios and identify intervention strategies. What remains unknown is whether the political will exists to implement solutions before the damage becomes irreversible. The evidence is clear. The Central Valley is experiencing a slow-motion catastrophe playing out on two fronts, atmospheric and geological. Above ground, unprecedented temperature inversions trap millions in cold, dark, hazardous conditions. Below ground, one of the world's most productive agricultural regions is literally collapsing under the weight of its own success. What scientists cannot predict is how long this double crisis can continue before the systems supporting 8 million people and a $50 billion agricultural economy reach a breaking point. The fog will lift, the rains will come, but the ground beneath California's heartland will keep falling, inch by inch, year after year, carrying homes, roads, canals, and lives down with it.